Mr. Parrikar, we've had the Technology Sabha for the last 7 years in Goa every year. And there's a reason we choose Goa aside from the beaches. You have often called it the intelligent state. There's been an ambition to promote IT in the state of Goa. Tell us a little bit about your IT promotional ambitions in Goa.
IT, I believe that, because I was listening to you earlier, for a government initiative to succeed, people should be illiterate, not illiterate. Illiterate, and that's why, because what I found, the most resistance come from the government departments, because the older generation is very reluctant to shift to the technological changes. In fact, recently when we asked all teachers to get trained on computer, teaching on computer, because students are being given tablet at standard 5 in Goa and a computer in standard 11 since long. 11th standard computer is from 2002. The result is the new generation up to 35 is absolutely tech savvy in Goa. But the old generation, I got letters from teachers saying that now I am retiring in next 3 years. Why do you force me to learn computer now? That kind of thing. Of course, computer is more like a car. I believe that understanding technology as a technology may be job of engineer or a software developer, but using technology is more like a skill. It's like a car. I always believe that it's like a car. And more you practice, more you become expert on it. So I don't see any reason why this should not happen. But unless you break that barrier of comfort level, the Goa scheme of cyber age, which we gave to students, probably is slowly breaking the barrier. And maybe the people will be tech savvy, and thereby the e-governance can be a success. Otherwise, it won't be easy to, it can become a bottleneck, and it can become we had a recent experience where some jobs were advertised and all applications were online. Complaints started pouring in saying that I can't get access to it, I'm not expert to fill the form, all kinds of things. So it takes some transition time. I think India is in that transition state, maybe another 2-3 years. We can become actually really e-governance compliant.
And do you think the whole 4G and that technology revolution will help in this cause?
Technology definitely helps, but sometimes I wonder what is happening to the mobile. For example, the technology in mobile jump, we had a jump start over US, maybe Europe also. We could select the best being late. Sometimes it happens. The last bus to the destination is empty. You can sit. The first is full of rush. People stand. But slowly we want mobile, but we don't want mobile towers. Result is jamming of the signals, continuous signal jumping up and down as you travel. So I think we need to take a call on that also.
Just on a lighter note, what you said about government and older people, we find the same in journalism also. The older journalists aren't very happy with the internet, and we find the same trend. There was some talk of trying to get Wi-Fi across all schools and colleges. What's the progress on that?
No, we are broadband compliant in Goa 100%. Every nook and corner of the state, the cables are laid. Almost 100%, I'm not saying 100%, but I'll say 96% of school panchayats, 100%, and most of the government offices have been connected with the broadband. So what I was thinking was, if we can start during the current year, to create a Wi-Fi network in schools, colleges and university campus, then internet as a tool becomes an almost equipment for passing on the knowledge. Education can become much better if it takes some time, it's not so easy. There is resistance, and I found in one school, the kids teaching the teacher how to use that iPad which was given. She was not able to use it, but the kids were teaching her now, ये button दबाओ, वो button दबाओ, ये करो, यहाँ ऐसा करेगा तो ऐसा होता है. All that kind of thing. So probably, in fact, let me be frank, even today, if I make a mistake in pressing a button on television, I call my son to correct it or switch it off and switch it on again. I don't understand so many buttons, why they are there. But tech-savvy generation is coming, and I think next 2-3 years you will really see a change taking place in the psychological aspect of India.
Can you explain to us what GoaNet is?
It's a broadband connectivity across state. We have laid broadband at a cost of something like 90 crores. So within 500 meters anywhere in Goa, almost anywhere in Goa, you can have a broadband connectivity. And we have now connected the schools, then panchayats, for example. My worry is we are not using it to the level we want, but next maybe a year or so, we should be putting it into use.
To what degree is your education? You've always been involved in technology. Is that one of the reasons why we see Goa doing more things other states are doing, or is it just a passion?
Let me be frank. It's not to the level of my own satisfaction. We have created infrastructure, but we have been trying to put government departments online. There are certain areas we have done very well, because I believe in one thing. I still remember a story I read about Turkey, when Kemal Pasha became the president or the dictator, whichever way. It's a historical story. Some of you may know about it. He declared one day that from tomorrow, the language for the state will be Turkey. Everything will be in their own language. Nothing will be in English. Till then they were using only English. So a lot of people rushed to him saying that how can it happen? He said, how much time you require? They said, no, at least 10 years. Some were saying 5 years. They said, okay, I gave you 10 years. Everyone was happy. 10 baras abhi you can use English, and after 10 years you can switch to Turkey. When they got up and about to go out, he said, your 10 years gets over at 5 o'clock tomorrow. I think when you do that, you get results. We did that in certain areas and we got results. For example, we are 100% e-payment. We are 100% e-tendering.
And newspapers don't like that, huh? We like the advertising on the papers for tendering, but anyway.
I feel that there are alternate legal methods of generating revenue. You can create alternate legal and I am of the opinion that if required, there can be a fund creation which supports the media, because media is a losing proposition and they don't like it. But I think a lot of wrong things like politics is also entering media because of this financially uneconomical proposition, particularly the electronic media. Most of them financially can't run unless they have some 200 crores, 300 crores.
That's true, you're right.
That's an expenditure.
TV, especially TV, if you start looking at it actually, and we're getting off IT topic, but
I'll just add up to it. Everyone thought that with TV and internet, the newspaper will disappear. My experience, we have doubled the newspapers now.
So we have doubled newspapers. We have never made as much money as we've made in the last couple of years in the whole our history at Express. And there's no cannibalization happening. The internet is adding users and readers, but it doesn't come at the cost of print. But that's taking away from IT, I think. A few more questions before we open up to the audience for questions. If there are any questions in the middle, please raise your hand. We'd love to get you in. Looking around. Mahiti Ghar, information kiosks across all panchayats. What's the idea there?
Actually, I had started Mahiti Ghar in 2002. That idea, when I was removed from the government, got sabotaged. After that, what central government concept which has come is you have to basically, we have got them, but it's only theoretical. Let me be very clear. Because what was done in last regime, all was messed up condition and still not able to recover through some of the messes. The proposition which was given was uneconomical for the person who would do the service. So basically it will have to be financially supported fully in the beginning, and slowly as service adds on, it can become technically and financially viable. But it's a good concept which helps people. But one thing I'll tell you, a lot of people think that e-governance reduces corruption. My opinion is it reduces corruption for a period. After that, the corruption possibly goes back to the same level, barring other factors. Of course, if there are other action. Initially, no politician knew anything about technology and all this e-governance, programming, everything. So the IT industry got boom because nothing was known. But slowly, IT was itself converted into a corruption scandal, like dummy programmers. I mean, they are not dummy exactly, but they don't give the service. Then one-time sale and clear, shoot and scoot, that kind of concept. Give the whatever, maybe good, even a good program. So sometimes this created negative impression about the IT. And the third one, for example, e-tendering. If anyone thinks that e-tendering means no corruption, is under fault. Because setting can be done before tendering is done. Setting can be done who gives with the keys. I know because when I put my foot down saying that single tender, double tender, nahi chalega, I started getting 4 tenders, 5 tenders. Then I realized that they themselves ask others to give the tenders. So ultimately, open platform makes a possibility lower, but in certain cases can be a better tool of corruption.
Actually, the idea
so don't think e-governance ultimately, of course, it can do one thing. It can reduce corruption to a common man, because he gets his application form online, he gets whatever his service online. So corruption at retail level can get reduced, but not at wholesale level.
We haven't spoken about social media at all. One of the things that e-governance also talks about is a citizen redressal system. Just to be able to listen more to citizens. Your views on social media and government?
It's good, but at the same time, the normal mode of governance also has to be available. I remember a story which I read about 3 years back. In Europe somewhere, 3 girls got caught in the sewers, the big sewers there. So they got trapped in that. They went down, they could not come out. So they got trapped in the sewer. They had a mobile with them, the latest version, from where they could have accessed Facebook. They accessed Facebook, put on the Facebook that we are trapped. All 3 of them, between age 12 and 16, none of them thought to just dial their father and tell him that we are trapped here. They used Facebook to put up, I think some of you might have come across this actual real story which happened. I think it was in France, if I'm not mistaken. So once you go into that world, if your legs are not, or the foot is not touching the ground, or you are not on the ground, you tend to go into a imaginary situation. Matrix kind of, you must have seen Matrix movies. That kind of situation where you don't know where reality ends and the real world starts and the imaginary world stops. This is a danger. This is a danger because that actually can result into killing of initiative, whereas IT improves initiatives. It can also bring down your other activities or other skills. So we should mix it up properly with the traditional form. If you only use IT, so how many students can write? How many can calculate without a calculator? I remember when I was in IIT, first semester I bought some calculator, Casio, and I realized at the end of the semester this calculator is not much of use to me, because in IIT you would require a scientific calculator. And if I am not mistaken, FX82, Hewlett Packard, was the calculator which was recommended, and this was did not have, many of you might have used it, red display, not green. I bought this calculator home and gave it to my father. My father had a grocery shop, wholesale and retail. He had some about 100 customers who used to buy from him on a monthly basis. So every day he used to bring that calculation home. They were writing the quantities and rate. They would not calculate. He would do it and put it on the ledger and return. For that he was using a lot of rough papers. I used to see him, so I brought this calculator and gave it to him. This will solve your problem without complication, and you can complete your calculation from half an hour to 5 minutes. So I was happy. I helped my father, went back for the next semester, came back in month of May, and saw father doing the same calculation on rough paper. So I asked him, what is this you are doing? Are you not using the calculator? He said, I'm using. Then why are you doing this? I'm checking. For about a year and a half, he was checking whether calculator is doing the calculation. After 1 year and a half, he stopped that calculation, and then you started using till end the calculator. So you have to understand the changeover is of this nature. Changeover doesn't happen overnight. But changeover overnight to the other extreme also is dangerous, because they don't know how to calculate otherwise. मार्केट में जाके भी उनको कैलकुलेटर लेना पड़ता है या मोबाइल पे करना पड़ता है.
It's open to some questions. Anybody? Right there at the back. You have a mic going around? Yeah. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, I think it's on.
Yeah. So it is said that different state governments and the central government work in silos. Are there any measures to make a e-governance project more integrated?
I think so. But before that, we need to have a very clear idea of what are the steps and what are the levels we will achieve at various levels. Trying to push e-governance too fast also may not help, because I was always wondering why Goa has a literacy rate of 92% or something like that, 89%. Leave aside of 3-4% migrant population. Why didn't we have 100%? Because every student goes to class. Then I realized that obviously because there are people who are not able to learn because they are differently abled. There are people who are too old to learn. And until they are out of the circulation, you can't expect your percentage to slowly rise towards 93 or 94%. So, same way, e-governance also is an initiative over a period of time. I'm a strong believer in this because it's absolutely not possible to push it down the gullet in one shot. That's because there will be section of population who will be illiterate to e-literacy. And you cannot teach them. You just can't teach them. In fact, I'll be frank, I don't use computer to that extent. A lot of people think two wrong impressions people have about me is, number one, I'm a movie buff because I started IFI in Goa. So they think that I watch all the movies in the world. The reality is I have not watched movie for last 1 year, except what I surf on TV.
Well, campaign season doesn't count.
Lot of computer, yes, I use, but I don't physically use much of it. Physically, I use it only to assess emails, timetable only. There is a lot of e-governance concept in my office which I use. But I don't like to, for example, I just can't read. My son brought me a book, electronic book, Kindle or whatever that. I can't read on that. I'm not very comfortable. I'm very comfortable in reading physical book. So how do you do about it? That is in fact lifelong. For 50 years you go through a particular process. Just like my father, it took him 1.5 years to shift over. Possibly it will take 2-3 years for the generation. So if we plan for over a period of 5 years or 6 years from now, because this is the right platform. Last 10 years we expected too much of e-governance. Nothing was happening because population was not ready. Now substantial percentage of population is ready for e-governance. Now if we take the platforms one by one, we will be able to do that. And central government, state government interaction is an absolutely must. We have to improve that NIC. They have to be more, they are good, but they need to be very good.
Another question? Yeah.
I'm Prabhu. I am the batchmate of yours, 1978. I did IT Bombay.
78?
Yeah, 78 electrical engineering.
And you are my classmate.
Yes. So, I retired
Which
as...
hostel?
I retired as DGNIC.
No, but which hostel I asked?
I was in Hostel 1.
That's
Hostel
why
4, Hostel,
I
yeah.
don't know.
You were in Hostel 4, I think.
Yes, hostel 1 was considered slightly with downgrade because it was PG hostel.
But the food was better.
Anyway.
So, the BJP government has announced smart cities. So now that you have broadband in the entire Goa, have you thought of something like a smart state or smart cities with all the other paraphernalia attached to the broadband?
There are certain frank things I'll talk. Last 2 years have been harrowing time for me. The central government was harassing me virtually. I didn't complain much because my nature is not of the complaining type, trying to push blame on someone. I take everything on myself. So even if that negativity is there, I would take it on me. Secondly, the mining industries virtually came to standstill. It was like a vehicle traveling at 200 kilometers suddenly being braked and brought to 0 speed, losing 25% of the state revenue. Anyone just understand the impact of it, he will realize. And I had already promised and started implementing schemes as per my manifesto, which was adding another 20% expenditure on me. Without, we can't print money like central government. So obviously I had to stay within the parameters given. It was a lot of time consuming for me, so I could not concentrate myself. But otherwise, what you say can be achieved if it is done systematically. What we need is a dedicated people in that field, because IT में शुरू में dedicated लोग थे, बाद में कई मतलब बाकी सोसाइटी में जो है वैसा IT में भी घुस गए. No, let me be frank. I'm not trying to point a finger at that. But initially there were companies who were really doing some good job. Then came that era where politician wanted to make money and that company also wanted to make money. So there are projects of crores of rupees which are just stuck up, going nowhere. I'll tell you, one department was cleaning up the scrap because I am after them to get rid of those old cars and everything. The head of the department came running to me and told me there are 72 cartoons tagged of computers in the scrap. That means someone had supplied, someone had signed the challan, inventory was added, cartoons were kept that not utilized. Many times I find the governments pound foolish, penny wise. So it requires some time, but 2-3 years period, I think smart cities can be developed.
The issues
And
like
I will
power.
love to take it. In fact, you gave me a good point, which I'll talk to Ravi Shankar Prasad ji. And I was talking with him about developing the electronic hardware. We are good in software, but very bad in hardware. So that also we are planning in Goa. Anyway,
Competing with China for hardware is a daunting task.
what is difficult in that? I don't understand. What is China today? All hardware component in China is 60 to 70% made in Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia. So China has also now no more that hard working, sweating type of industrial factory. They have moved one up the ladder, another one step, and they will become like Americans, only importing everything.
So a small offside, but how much of money has the mining? We asked you this at the Lok Sabha Idea Exchange also 2 years ago, 1 year ago. How much money has actually cost the government?
Goa's budget, in real sense, the net amount is only 6,000 crores. The budgetary figure is 10,000 crores. But that is because certain areas is add and minus. So I am going for the negative revenue, net revenue.
Yeah.
It's 6,000 crores. Mining directly was 1,200 crores, indirectly about 400 to 500 crores. So around 1,600 crores per year out of 6,000 crores.
And your public transportation endeavor, your public transportation plan, that was to spend how many crores?
Which one?
The public transportation. You had a large public transportation plan, right? To put buses and trams.
No, that was not in
lieu of
immediately.
mining.
It's in the planning stage.
Right.
But our social sector is very strong. In Goa, we have a very strong social schemes. Almost everyone and anyone is covered under the social schemes. Example, just I list about 6 or 7 of them. Anyone below 1.5 lakh income is covered by Mediclaim for any type of disease normally up to 3 lakhs, but even up to 8 lakhs for cancer. Everyone below 1.5 lakhs income. Then number 2, every girl in Goa at the age of 18 gets 1 lakh rupees deposited in her account for her higher education or business or marriage. 3, every woman in Goa who is married and whose husband-wife income is less than 3 lakhs per annum gets 1,200 rupees per month. Then every elderly person who doesn't have pension and doesn't have income of his own gets up to 2,000. Widow gets 2,000. Differently able kid gets up to 3,500 monthly pension. Like that I can go on repeating. Virtually we found, to our surprise, 85% of Goan families are somehow covered under various social network. So that way it is very strong. So that has a component which gets spent also on that.
Any other questions?
To qualify for a smart city, do you have the infrastructure like power, roads or water all in place as comparable to West?
Though we need to improve water supply, we have our complaints is not adequate supply, or sometime in some local areas some problematic supply because of some different kinds of problem, leakage or breakage or blockage. But otherwise Goa is fully covered under water supply. 78% of Goans have toilets, 95% Goans have TV sets, 93% have two-wheelers at least. So that way well settled. And as I told you, so far we have distributed, now in 12 years, more than 2 lakh laptops to the 11th year student. This year we started with tab, which was given to 50,000 students. So almost every family which has one kid who has passed through 10th standard, 11th standard has a computer available in the house, laptop or desktop. So that way now e-literacy also is good. And therefore smart city concept can succeed. If it can succeed, Goa is one of the places to serve.
If you provide Wi-Fi or
We can
LTE.
succeed on smart state.
Correct. Wi-Fi, LTE, 4G throughout the state. Then
4G we are working out, maybe another month. We need some legislation. See, knowledge and good income also generate, no, don't take it wrongly, what we call as NGOs. There are some good of them, but there are some who just raise issues for sake of it. And they start, that is why I told you, keep mobile, we want mobile with us, but we don't want mobile tower. There is a problem which is being faced in many areas. They don't want mobile towers because someone told them, see, one way we are highly qualified because we use computer everything. The other way, because someone says that mobile tower can cause cancer, when actually science says that there is no direct link except when you are exposed to very heavy radiation. They don't believe it, that aspect of it.
Question here.
Sir, you're considered a socially very savvy Chief Minister among the 29 other Chief Ministers.
Before you complete the question, let me introduce him. That's Rahil Khurshid. He's head of Twitter, government for Twitter in India. So he's trying to get you on Twitter.
He is, sir, is already on
The government, Goa government.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was wondering if you have any plans to participate to governance using platforms like ours and Facebook and others.
No, we are on the, as I told you, the 2 years were very, it's like 2 years were spent in struggling to survive. I will not call it exactly survive, but to live to the expectation of people. Because I had a very biggest test before me, and that was Lok Sabha election. The South Goa constituency is not considered as defeatable for Congress in Goa. That is a position. So for me, if I had lost any one of the constituency, I would have been on block politically. So while all this problem was there, I had to struggle to get a lot of things on day-to-day basis. It was like day-to-day based survival. I'll not use word survival, but day-to-day basis stay on the expectation platform. Successfully stay on that platform. I have managed that now. We got 55% vote, won this South Goa seat by almost 33,000 votes, which is a very big number in Goa. It's equivalent, you multiply it by about 3 or 4 for finding out other states' results. So it's more than 1,25,000 compared to other areas. So it's comfortable victory. Now I think I can do what you say. But I'll put an additional pinch of salt. I don't like 100% going on to the, there has to be hard copy also. You understand me properly, it's not physically that way I'm saying. You need to also have an availability of non-platform type of services. People all will take time to go on it, and if you don't do it, otherwise at least you provide a helping hand so that people can actually use someone to get his form filled. The danger is that fellow can fill anything and create a problem.
Another question.
Sir, I am Sudhir from Oracle. I have a different question other than e-governance. When you came, you reduced the petrol prices. So I would like to actually understand as a case study that what has been the impact of that on your budget, on your state budget, 1. 2, why do you think what you have done can't be done in other part of the country? Because I think you did very quickly you did a huge change on the petrol price. So your experience and
Number one, I believe that petroleum products prices should be low. That's because it's one product which touches everyone. So if you can manage to control petroleum product prices, I'm against subsidy, but you can still manage to keep it low, reasonably low. So if you can manage to do that, the inflationary pressures will reduce. One of the major source of inflation is petroleum product, and whether the state governments say it or not, I'll tell you, in 1 year the UPA donated us anywhere up to 2 rupees 50 paisa per liter on diesel to the state. They donated because they raised the diesel prices by about 12 rupees during last 1 year. Obviously my sale tax also went on going up. That didn't happen with petrol for me because I'm 0.1% VAT. Now my example cannot be followed by others. I had done this exercise of petrol because of certain reason and certain conditions prevailing in Goa. See, that's why I always say that everything has to be viewed from a particular state's perspective, cannot be applied commonly everywhere. I was coming here and some TV channel was asking me why I am sending 6 MLAs for football. They call it jaunt. I said it's not jaunt. We are trying to host under 17 football finals game in Goa. In Goa, football has been declared as a state sports, and we love, and those MLAs who are going, 2 of them have played for Goa at national level also, plus others also are good footballers themselves. So you can't apply what happened in UP, their MLAs going for a jaunt, to this case because we are differently placed. I cannot be compared with the same position of UP, but that is unluckily we try to compare everyone on the same platform. That doesn't happen. In Goa, there are 2 reasons why I declared it. Number one, I wanted to show that how much money the central and the state loot to the people. Number 2, 92% of the Goans have at least one 2-wheeler. And they commute using 2-wheelers to the place of their business, and they spend a lot of money on this transportation. Now I could pass a subsidy without a certificate, without application, without electronic transfer to these people, because most of the petrol is spent on these 2-wheelers. The 4-wheelers, the costlier one, we increase their tax. You don't have to charge 2 price for diesel. That is what thinking sometimes comes in newspaper. It's a foolish thinking. There will be black money generated because of that. You should not do it. The best way is increase the price at the source by 1 lakh rupee, and you have all the lifelong diesel difference already in cash. Transfer that 1 lakh rupees to petroleum fund. Issue is over. But what is important is Goa, I managed to get subsidy to 92% people of between 500 to 2000 rupees per month in his pocket directly. So that is the reason I could do it, and it's not advisable to other states, but what is advisable is bring it down to a level of 10-12%. That would reduce the inflationary pressure. Both diesel also. In fact, the moment the mining starts, I intend to touch the diesel VAT also. Stepwise reduce it to a reasonable level.
Yes, please. Yes.
Hello sir, I'm Neerav Shah from PricewaterhouseCoopers. So my question was that now we see a lot of more younger people getting engaged and are interested in politics and policy making with the advent of social media, etc. What would you say that in Goa what we can do to try and have more participative governance from the younger people? Them getting involved in some kind of policy making, draft legislation, putting their comments, what they want. I mean, do you see a scope for this kind of a thing to happen here?
First thing, I think we need to create a positive atmosphere. Biggest failure, and if you ask me in one word, what is wrong in media, I'll tell you one thing. They created a very negative image about the politics. For example, I just told you that about jaunts, football, 6 MLAs are being spent when this austerity is there. For me, football is a tourism festival. When I host that 2017 Under 17 World Cup, I will recover 10 times this amount, maybe 100 times this amount, because foreigners will come to me. There are reasons for it. I am not explaining everything. They created a negativity to a level where everyone looks towards politics and politicians as chores. Ultimately, you have to remember one thing. Every sector, all four pillars, have the negative aspect of the society reflecting in them. Whether it is judiciary, whether it is press, executive, or the politicians. Politicians, it gets highlighted because they are in focus. If I do something minutely wrong, that will be focused across globe. If that happens with an individual, no one is going to note it. It happens with, suppose some reporter, no one is going to note it. If it happens with my karyakarta also, small karyakarta, no one is going to note it. But when you created negative image about, and that is the success of Modi ji, that he created a hope in spite of this all negativity. See, you have, and that is why the responsibility of success also is very high on him. Because people hope have further growth because they expect almost miracle. That's why, at least from my side, I have been again and again saying, don't expect miracle. It is election for 5 years. Give him 5 years. He will slowly start showing results in 3-4 months. You can't get results in overnight for a country of 120 crores. So, first thing we need to correct the perception. Mind you, politician may be chore, but whatever is happening also has some component of politician in it. Positive things also are happening. More important, you cannot avoid it. I'll tell you the worst part is eating. Why you eat? Don't eat. You don't have problem of diabetes. You don't have problem of so much cholesterol and all that. I'm coming to the point. But then you need to eat, otherwise you won't survive. If you less eating, it is said that the total quantum of food for every person is fixed. If you eat more, you go away fast. You eat less, be more skinny or zero figure, whatever you call it, then you survive longer. That is a concept, scientific concept. I am not talking about, because I am a student of genetics also. So basically, then if eating is bad, it creates diabetes. In a diabetic, sugar content start increasing. The best way is starve or diabetic. But then if you starve or diabetic, what happens? You will go into hypoglycemia. It's hypo, no? Lowering. Right. So, ultimately same thing. Like eating, politics is essentiality of a society. You cannot avoid it. Like diabetes, bad politicians have to be taken care. But you cannot avoid them. What I am trying to point out, I hope you understood, that the political system without politics and politician cannot exist. When we know that it cannot exist, we have to improve it. Improve it by various methods. One is by entering. Now, if you want a good person to enter, we are hypocrites. We don't realize. When I enter politics, I am sacrificing 20 times of what legal income I get, because I don't have illegal income. Legal income I get as I had a very strange problem, but I will not repeat it here. I was selling my property because I wanted my son to do some activities, selling one of my plots. The problem was, when we went for registration, the price I recorded was about 2,000 more than anyone else. So they were all asking me, "Arey, tum upar ka paisa cash mein le lo." No, I want everything in check. The problem was very serious because the price zoomed up by 25% because of that in that area. Earlier people were recording it, that means at least 25% more money was being paid in cash. It increased my stamp duty, that's separate. But I'll tell you, I must be losing at least 30 times or 40 times the income what I get as a chief minister. I could have won 45, 100 times I could have won in my field. Why should I go there? I'm asking this question That is the question for every person who earns money and has a capacity. And you think that people who have capacities, don't you think that people who have capacities are the people who can actually deliver? So you select by paying meager amount, either make him chore, or you will never get a person who has to compromise. I'm not saying you pay 100 times, but unless you pay him reasonably well, that is why I'm calling ourselves hypocrites. We don't want our MLAs to get good salary. I'm first Chief Minister who said my MLA will get good salary even if the media criticizes. I don't care, because I feel that they have to have decent standard, then only they will think of delivering. I'm not saying everyone will deliver. I'm not saying that everyone will be clean, but at least one who wants to stay clean will remain clean as an opportunity to stay clean. So we will have to change atmosphere, change in some people, and mind you, just because someone is intelligent or IIT doesn't mean that he can deliver. IIT में भी crooked लोग होते हैं, IIT में भी बदमाश लोग होते हैं. I'll tell you a small story which I always repeated in my speeches in election. हमारे इधर दो मित्र मेरे हमारे विंग में रहते थे. In my wing, you will understand what I am saying. One of them was drunkard and smoked regularly. The other one was teetotaler. एक दिन और वो जो पीता था वो दिन भर पीता था. So one day the other one was sitting in his room chatting about something. The fellow who was drinks had a glass. He was taking sip, smoking. Suddenly दरवाजे पे खटखट हो गया. So he kept his glass on the table, cigarette in the ashtray, and went and opened the door. His father was standing there. He had almost an heart attack, because not nowadays ऐसा situation आ गया तो वो बोलेगा why don't you join me? It's a separate issue, but those were the days, 75, 76. The friend of his was smart. He picked up the glass, picked up the cigarette and went to his room. Saved him actually. बाप का कुछ जो पैसा देना था ये हो गया. और when father was going away, he just advised his son, you people don't listen to old generation, but please keep in mind, don't have such companion, don't have such friends. ऐसा फ्रेंडशिप मत रखो जो दारू और सिगरेट पीता है. The only problem here is the advice was right, but given to a wrong person. So don't think that IITs are not crooked. Don't think so. Intelligence gives more capacity to be crooked. So don't think that someone is not educated, highly qualified, means he is good. He can be so serious a crooked person that he will take you for a ride for years together. Unless he makes a mistake of resigning, you will never know. So,
yes,
I think no one understood my last punch. 49 days experience. He is also an IIT.
Honorable Sir, first of all, it's such a rare opportunity to meet a Chief Minister who speaks in such a non-political manner, and I love you for that.
Introduce yourself, please.
My name is A. Ghosh. I am from Agriculture Insurance Company of India Limited from Delhi. Sir, coming back to IT, I had one question. I seek your opinion on that. So when you were talking of the e-governance plan of Goa and how Goa is going forward with IT, etc., I think one of the main things which you highlighted, the main roadblocks, was a change of psychology. The older generation and, not latching on to technology.
I call it mindset.
Mindset, okay. But apart from that, in our domain, when we actually work, there is one more mindset issue which I think most of the IT people they face, is that everybody expects IT to be subservient to the front-end activities, the business activities, and not the other way around. But it often happens that if business or marketing goes in its own way, without taking the IT imperatives into account, what can be done and cannot be done in a system. They expect that we'll wave a magic wand and everything will be done in the system, but there are certain limitations to every system, and in which case, what they do, I mean, this is also a mindset which is not changing at the top level of management. So what is your opinion on this? Should this also be changed, or should the primacy of the other departments as opposed to the IT function, should it remain?
It depends on which role you are taking. For example, education department, the use of IT should improve the quality of education. One example of it can be virtual classroom. That means a teacher gives a lecture in one classroom and maybe lakhs of students listen to that teacher. Not all teachers are good. My geography teacher, in fact you are 78 electrical, you must be remembering Dr. Kamath. I am not taking his first name, the lady is here. He was treated by a student with a very negative nickname, but a brilliant teacher. He taught me electrical machines and designs. I am a metallurgist, I am not an electrical engineering, but I will tell you, his teaching enabled me to catch at least 3 or 4 scams in the electricity department during my political career. He was referred with the Article 377. You know about Article 377, the third gender. So, his teaching was that excellent. And ultimately, you need to use the IT in education department to improve the opportunity for the students. Here, if the IT starts becoming a prime driver, then that won't work. IT has to work out a mechanism by which this is made possible. If IT starts becoming the focal point, then the full issue changes. And the corruption also sometimes sets in. Because then the idea is to buy the hardware. The IT is used for buying hardware rather than actual teaching. That's why I have decided, for example, when we are buying e-tablets this year, the education content and the networking of education will be a separate exercise for which we are going to spend quite a bit amount. I am not ready to treat software as a nothing or 5 lakh रुपया दे दो, 10 lakh रुपया दे दो, ready-made लाके डाल दो, ऐसा नहीं. I want software which will be really useful to the student, so we are treating it as a separate exercise. And we'll be using the complete internet broadband. But when you go to IT department, its supremacy obviously comes up. Same thing happens with accounts. This is nothing new anywhere. Accounts department, accountant in the department has a secondary role, but when he comes in the accounts department, he has a primary role. So it depends on which hat you wear. Thoda mindset hai, some mindset is there. Sometimes it is negative, sometimes it is positive. But don't think that IT can remove corruption. Human brain is still faster than computer. It does find ways and means of doing corruption even when the IT is used.
The last question here in front.
So my name is Vinich Sagar. I manage government business in Oracle. In fact, I was here when you launched the Cyber Age for the first time many years ago. And I've seen that scheme grow and scale. Yeah. Sorry?
In 2002.
Yes, 2002. I was here and
I'll tell you only one line there.
Yeah.
I will never put my photographs or my party symbol on the laptop.
Yes, exactly. I agree. So my question is more around scale. Scheme is scale, and scale has always plagued India as a kind of a country. And a couple of issues which come up in that perspective is really broadband penetration and language computing. Right? So just wanted to understand how will these issues get sorted going forward, or what's the plan to address these issues going forward?
Actually, broadband, I don't understand why India can't have an actually broadband highways. We have a network of railways across country. That is the best, safest bet to have a massive broadband network across country. Lay the cables along the railway track. Safest, cheapest, and virtually crisscrossing the country. Then you take link from there. I'll tell you, services provided, there was idea of doing this, but I don't know what happened to it, whether it is really being used. But if you do it along the railway network, railways can mint money. So that is one. They had started this also, but I think it got derailed because of capital investment and all kinds of things. Language should not be a problem in India because Hindi is quite, except for some very deep southern area, Hindi is quite well accepted by the nation. And we can have, I'll tell you, if you go for Hindi, there will be more users than going for English. So Hindi can be used, and software to pick up your words are available nowadays. So I don't see this as adults. Till then you can go by sign languages. If an illiterate person can go to a right toilet because the photograph of a king and a queen is shown outside, why can't you do that in ICT tools? Give them the sign language for certain issues, particularly use.
Last question. So how many more people want to ask questions? We should show of hands. One more, two. Okay. So we have three questions. Can we have?
So it's great to actually have you join us this evening. And I'm Amreen, I'm from the Indian Express. We can't have the Chief Minister of Goa go away without sharing with us. It's exciting to see that the Prime Minister is arriving day after tomorrow. What will be the core agenda?
I'll give you one point, is that it is his first program, and I'm proud. It is his first program outside Delhi. And he has chosen Goa. It's a first public program outside Delhi. You just see from the day he's sworn in till today he has not left Delhi. So it's first. More so I'm happy that because he started in Goa. Goa has always been a, I don't know whether he believes or not. And though I don't believe it to a level of madness, still sometimes you feel comfortable with certain issues. Goa has been always very lucky for Narendra Modi, right from 2002. Every time he has stepped on Goan soil, there is some good news for him. Now he may believe or he may not believe in it. I also don't believe in superstition, but sometimes I say that incidences happen, that things go positive to you when you go up. It's like your belief, whatever it is. It started in Goa. So the first, we are getting the opportunity. The agenda is nothing, but if you ask me, I never thought in my life. I'm dedicated to a particular philosophy. I believe that Indianness, which some people call as Hindu, is what we should believe in. You can't build up a nation without having a pride in your nation. That is what RSS taught me from childhood. It never taught me to hate anyone. I have got good Muslim friends. I have done almost rozas. In fact, I ate double. Like we say in Marathi, Ekadashi Duppat Khachi. Say, I used to join them in early morning biryani. I had a Punjabi Muslim friend. My next, and a person from Fiji, Muslim, on the left side. So both sides there were Muslims in IIT. So he is a very good close friend of mine. So I used to many times enjoy their biryani. So I have never been taught by RSS any negativity. How that negativity concept came, I don't want to go into those details. But one thought which has always focused on me is character and national pride. I feel proud. I'm proud to be Indian because there is a hierarchy starting from even Lord Rama, and whether you consider him God or not, he was a shining example of right thing at that particular time. So I believe in that principle, and I think Narendra Modi is an built up of same component. So for me, it's a pride. I wanted to see a pure 100% majority government at 7 RCR. That was my dream. It has come true. Is coming my. I feel fulfilled. There is no core agenda other than this. The rest, whatever the nation wants, that can be delivered. I will try to do best whatever he says. Same thing. It's virtually. The elections also have been on the similar line. If you check up Goa's election 2 years back, we won pure majority. No one gave us that chance. We got 21 plus allies. Totally we got 26. I lost my tourism minister within a week's time. He lost Munde within a week's time. There are quite few similarities. So sometimes I wonder whether things repeat in history. But agenda, get the nation on track. And Goa can be a model development laboratory.
How is Goa preparing to welcome Mr. Modi?
My only problem is how to control the number of requests to get the pass for his programs. Like workers' meet is there. We are estimated 6,000. Every day we are getting requests. People who had worked sometime also wants to come. So they want to convert it into big public meeting, but of course we can't do it. So at this moment everyone is thrilled. People do expect some sort of an announcement for Goa, but that is not a very big expectation as far as I am concerned. Let him come, let him do good for India. And I am very confident that he will do it.
You said every time he stepped foot in Goa, some good news has come for him.
That's just
So can you tell us what happened last year at the BJP conclave in Goa?
I'm not talking even of that. When he came for my son's marriage, the moment he landed, he got the message of court decision to throw out that case on some Razia or other some society. But there was some case which was going on. That judgment came by court decision. But he got the information on the airport when he landed. So at National Executive, the dilemma was to declare or not to declare. I think what actually swung was one small point made by me in my speech while supporting. That may be the straw on the camel's back. Where decision came, it would have come otherwise also, sometime maybe later, but the time factor was very important. I just asked them, there was a resolution being passed, political resolution. And that political resolution talked about inaction of Narsimha Rao government. Indecisiveness of indecisiveness of Manmohan Singh government. Inaction by Manmohan Singh government. And everyone was talking about it. I just asked them, good, you will go outside, the press will ask you what is the resolution. You will say that we have passed a resolution showing our disgust towards indecisive attitude and indecisive Prime Minister. And if they ask next to you, what is your decision on Mr. Modi being appointed as a Prime Ministerial candidate, what are you going to say? I said this statement, and mind you, about 400 National Executive members clapped for 5 minutes when I made this. Actually, I think that clap for 5 minutes by the National Executive gave signal to every leader that this is the right time. Rajnath did the rest. So that's exactly how it happened.
Wonderful. one question.
Good,
Yes.
good evening, sir. I'm Chandralekha Mukherjee from CRIS, which is the Center for Railway Information Systems, and it is the IT arm of the railways. You are an ace.
What happened to your broadband network?
Sir, I heard that and we noted that. So, and we'll update you on that, sir.
No, but I think it can be money spinner for you if it is used properly.
It has been done, sir, but the formal announcements have not yet been made.
Not with the speed and the created infrastructure is not being used by you. Just like Goa, what is happening. Goa also I am not very satisfied because we have got a broadband. We can put all these TV channels, everything on
Yes,
the broadband.
sir. So you've heard of RailTel. So they are into it full time now, and it's a very vibrant body now, and this is going to shape up really quickly. Sir, as an ACE IT administrator, so we are a group of 5 people here from CRIS. We were very keen to know as to how you think railways, which has been one of the pioneer adapters and implementers of IT, how do you think we've done? And Goa has got tourism and railways has a big connect for you, as well as for the rest of the country. What do you think the railways should do next? Thank you, sir.
No, I feel that in India, we still consider railway as a vehicle for poor people. Actually, that was answered by Metro last week when lakhs of people thronged to the... So charging a right railway fare, nothing is wrong, provided you provide a facility. We are derailing various services by charging too low. Like almost successive government has not increased railway fares for number of years for passengers. That is actually putting railways into trouble. So some increase every year would have saved you increase 2%, 3%, 4%. Let us assume 2% increase every year over the last 10 years would have given you 20-25% more revenues that could have been used for upgrading. But we need to go into the bullet train era. Not all trains should be of that. But I think, and the best route where you can start doing that is Konkan Railway route. If you do that, because this is one of the most scenic area, and you can really not only Goa, right from after you leave Mumbai, right up to Kerala, you can exploit it on tourism belt. Railways can take lead. I'm in fact talking to Saran for this.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
आपने just name again, please. We didn't hear you right.
आपने अपने रेवेन्यू कंपोनेंट बताया 6,000 करोड़ गोवा का, इसमें कंपोनेंट बताया 1200 नेट 1200 डायरेक्ट माइनिंग और इनडायरेक्ट 400 समथिंग. कैन यू एक्सप्लेन सर, इसको थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा विस्तार में बता पाएंगे, डायरेक्ट और इनडायरेक्ट, और दूसरा आईटी का रोल कितना है इसमें?
नहीं, इनकम के हिसाब से आईटी का रोल ज़्यादा नहीं रहेगा, लेकिन you want to know what? Net income was 6,000. I lost around 1,500, 1,600 because of mining for last 2 years. In September, we'll complete 2 years. Per year, that is. What you want to know? How I replaced it? Plus additional expenses. First, my mother was 4th standard. I always make differentiation between a person who is well qualified and an educated person. Well qualified person does not mean he is educated. But there are born people who are wise. My mother belonged to the 3rd category. They have to be born. She used to tell me one very basic principle. Sumta zai titli di, poi dakho naka म्हणून always she had told me. That means give as much prawns you want, donate. But don't show where you catch them. Don't ask my tricks, how I got the money collected? In simple, I'll tell you. There is one simple case study where dumps, mining dumps, you must have heard, they were dumped on many of the private lands, some government land and some forest land. Those which are dumped on forest land have become forest property, and so the issue is over. But government revenue land and private land, the dumps were dumped. There is a principle called as use of land. If you understand land revenue code, for every purpose, land use has to be allowed. For example, this is a hotel, so this must be land. For principle, the land is always considered as agriculture. Every land is agriculture. This land was also agriculture, technically, but was allowed to be used for constructing this hotel. This hotel owner must have paid conversion fees. Now dumps are lying there for number of years. That is the use also has been changed from agriculture to storage of dumps. No one had paid any single rupee. I told them, if you don't pay, I confiscated all the dumps. Dumps are basically low-grade iron ore. It has value. I'll confiscate everything. Otherwise, you will have to pay at this rate per square meter. This I got 435 crores. I showed you a very small sample of how to catch, how to net. What would have happened with a corrupt government? They would have collected some 50 crores and shared the balance booty. I collected 100%. The rate was decided by me. The scheme was decided by me as a finance minister. So obviously, so how can you make money? I'll tell you a very simple way to make money. I don't recommend it, but I'll show you. See, you have to be a good administrator. You should have a capacity of thinking the most crooked way. Then only you can become a good. You don't have to do it. To catch a thief, you need to think faster than thief and run faster than thief. Because thief has an incentive to run. Policeman does not have. That is the problem. वो भागा नहीं हो. I remember a story what happened here एक बार. एक चोरी हो गया, पुलिस आ गया जगह पे, उसने अंधेरे में खेत में जंप किया और ही रैन अवे. दूसरा पुलिस मुझे रिपोर्ट बोल रहा था कि वो भागा इतना फास्ट. हम बोला बराबर है, वो भागेगा ही, बिकॉज वो भागा नहीं तो जेल में जाएगा. तुम भागा नहीं तो तुमको पगार मिलेगा. सो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन what incentive you put. But I feel that if you put a right incentive, things can come properly. And even national level, railways can become self-sufficient if they exploit their properties which they have across India. If they do it, I'll just ask one question. If they start planting a good tree at every 10 meters along the railway track, after 20 years, how much wood they will have? I'm not talking about the mangoes the people will eat. Let people eat the mango, कोई तो खाएगा. लेकिन वो आम का झाड़ होगा या इमली का झाड़ रहेगा ट्रैक के बाजू में. Not all track will be. Just think of ideas. Think of their properties in cities. If they use it on commercial basis, they will meet money.
One more question I saw back there. Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. We have a tradition at Express. We're going to give you some photograph of you in your very many moods. And thank you for this. Most of these people haven't eaten lunch today because their flights got a little late landing. So I think we had a great discussion. Thank you so much.